So after making what's being called her Megzit, Meghan Markle is back in Canada. And now that she and Prince Harry have announced they're stepping back from their royal duties, fans are saying they want to see Meghan back on the big screen. Well, I was gonna ask what you thought about it, but apparently you already told me.
Can I ask them something?
Yeah.
Were you watching her on the screen before? Yeah. Interesting, okay.
Wow. I don't think that, listen, I don't think she's gonna go back on Suits, or if there's...
She's not gonna put on a pair of tights and be in a Marvel movie.
But I do think that there are on-screen opportunities for her. It doesn't have to necessarily be playing a different character or being in a soap opera. You can make cameos in films and films that are important to you. I mean, there are wonderful emerging and established filmmakers who have aligned themselves with the causes that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have, supported. Equality, racial equality, women's rights. And so imagine if there was a film directed by acclaimed director Ava DuVernay and produced by Oprah Winfrey and also produced by the Obamas. The Obamas, remember, have a deal with a streaming service. So if the Obamas are putting together a documentary or a scripted program about something and you want a cameo from somebody who happens to have acting experience, ding, ding, ding.
See, I was actually...
She checks all the boxes.
She does, you're absolutely right. But I actually thought that maybe Harry and Meghan would actually follow the Michelle and Barack model. So their production company is called Higher Ground Productions. And I thought, maybe Harry and Meghan will start their own production company.
Very possible.
Because what it allows them to do, if you look at what Michelle and Barack are doing, because we're on a first name basis, if you see what they're doing, this is exactly what Barack said about Higher Ground Productions. And it made me think that I could hear Meghan and Harry using the same rationale if they started their own production. This was Barack Obama talking about his brand new production company. He said, quote, "We all have a sacred story in us, right? A story that gives us meaning and purpose and how we organize our lives. A good story is a good story. If it's a documentary like yours, or if it's a scripted story that helps people understand something they don't understand before, we want to see if we can give voice to it."
Oh, yeah.
That's right down their alley.
I love that you're saying that because, we always talk about Meghan being from Hollywood. You mentioned the Obamas, they produce documentaries. The Oscar nominations are being announced on Monday. One of their documentaries could be nominated for...
American Factory?
That's right. Yeah. One of their documentaries could be nominated for an Oscar. The Oscars are on February 9th. I don't know, could we see Meghan and Harry presenting at the Oscars? Now, because they have to be strategic about how they dip in and out of show business and celebrity, right? I don't ever want to see Prince Harry presenting an award to, with all due respect, these are fine people, I'm sure, but the Kardashians. Okay. Yeah. However, if Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are presenting an award to the Obamas, I think that lines up. That tracks.
Really nice.
It does. And if they're going to follow that Michelle and Barack example, I'm thinking a book. I think a book deal is probably in the works.
Yes.
I think she definitely has a story to tell. And if I'm producing this in my head, there's also a documentary, maybe an autobiographical thing, and maybe it starts in Africa. And maybe it starts with that reporter asking her the question, "Are you okay?" Oof. And she wells up and says, "Nobody's asked me that." Because it gets real there. And I think that's where you start, and then you go back as to what has happened and how the press has treated her and the royal family and everything.
And who writes the soundtrack? Maybe someone like Beyonce writes the soundtrack.
Maybe someone like Beyonce writes the soundtrack. I love all of that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be very honest. I also just want to see like paparazzi photos of them on a yacht with celebrities, like having a really good time. But April on Facebook wrote, if she didn't want the life of being a member of the royal family, she should have walked away. She knew what was going to happen once she agreed to marrying Harry. Well, yeah, I don't think she signed up for misogyny, racism, and harassment, though. No. That should not be a part of any job.
No.
When you talk about books, though, if I can, when you talk about books, you guys know that the Sussexes have trademarked Sussex Royal. And they've trademarked it for over 100 properties across the UK. Things like books.
There you go.
Pajamas, This is true. Things like clothing, like pajamas, for books. Like, you can actually see, someone has actually run the numbers and said, if they've trademarked all of this stuff in a year could actually garner $500 million in revenue. So when everybody was making a big deal about how are they gonna make money, I'm like, they're gonna have nowhere to spend all this money. They're gonna be making so much of it.
So much of it.
Yeah.
God.
Well, I think that for them, right now, their world is their oyster. But to go back to April's comment, you know, she knew what was going to happen when she agreed to marrying Harry. She is the first biracial woman to marry into this family. So I don't think anybody knew what was going to happen. This is uncharted territory. She's a trailblazer. So yeah, she may have had some goals, but nobody has done this before. So good luck to Meghan, and we hope that we can see her on screen at some point.
And we're available. I just want to say, as you heard here, because we know she's in Canada, she could be watching. Hi, Megs. We're available for consulting. I just want to put it out there.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.